Hello, my name is Nina Lujan, and I would like to start off by telling you a few aspects of who I am. Not only am I a student at Northern Arizona University, as I'm sure you all now know, but I am also a daughter, a sister, a friend, a niece, a cousin, a girlfriend to my wonderful boyfriend, and which is my best friend too, and a granddaughter to my wonderful grandparents who started my version of a legacy. It all started with my papa, who lived in Italy for most of his childhood. The only reference he had of the United States was the known notion during this time period, as our country being the sugar palace. Food necessity was always scarce in Italy, where he lived, and with him being the eldest son, he had a great number of pressures to help provide. At times, finding wild asparagus or even snails once rain was present consisted of many meals when handouts were not an option. Making his way to United States at only 10 years old with his family, following his father, he started working right away. Hard work was never a question to him. When it came to working in a candy store, to learning our country's language in just the span of a year. This was all leading up to his service in the United States Marine Corps. My papa signed up for the military draft at just 18 after finishing up school. He served for 2 years, from 1968 to 1970, and later gained citizenship in the United States in 1970 after serving our country as a non-citizen soldier. You're probably wondering what this has to do with me. Well, for obvious reason, if it wasn't for my papa making his way to United States and marrying my nonna, I would simply just not exist. However, it is so much more than that reason. I've always been taught by my beautiful mother and father, alongside with the rest of my family's support system, that hard work pays off. With that being said, I truly do believe this notion, and living in the United States of America allows that notion to be true. The Constitution starts with "we the people," as I'm sure all of us know, being citizens of this country. And it also states, securing the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity. Living in this country of the free, unfortunately, has not always been recognizable for me. Growing up, I had many happy memories, but at times some bad ones as well. Navigating myself in this world was hard, since my emotions seemed to get the best of me a lot of the times. My junior year of high school is where things changed drastically. During this point of my life was completely turned upside down, and my identity as well. It felt like the mimicry of a light switch being utilized, since I had no sense of direction anymore. My hard work hardly seemed to matter, in which I always took pride in. I fell into a deep state of depression. I was not motivated to do anything, like even enjoying the simple taste of food, which before I always looked forward to. My only little sense of comfort was my bed, surrounded by the darkness of my room, having every thought in my brain haunt me. Nothing made sense, and numbness overcame my entire brain, in which I acted on some of those demonized thoughts. And during this time, I was so convinced I was a terrible person. Another light switch moment happened within that next month right after, which seemed to be the polar opposite of what my norm was. I then could not keep up. It seemed like a constant race of me trying to keep up with all of my thoughts, with some even turning into actions. It felt like a constant type of high within my head, making sleep non-existent and risk being my best friend. I couldn't recognize anything anymore. There was no think before you do. I did anything and everything I wanted, and along with that, I also said things I can never take back. After all these consistent whirlwinds of confusions and never-ending roller coaster mentality, I later was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. After this day, I finally had an explanation. I had a little taste of clarity. However, I only knew myself of having bipolar disorder. I convinced myself by stating I am bipolar, making it 10 times harder to have a real sense of who I was. It wasn't until my intense group therapy that occurred 3 times a week, where 3 hours were included in each of my sessions, in which I was told by my therapist that I should not identify as being bipolar, since in reality, I just have bipolar disorder. Ever since that day, I graduated from my group therapy, my sense of identity was woken. I now have used my disorder as a unique part of who I am. I have used my diagnosis as not a barrier, but as an opportunity to grow within my life. It is living in the United States of America which has given me this opportunity. I was able to have the right support and guidance for my disorder. I now am studying psychological sciences as my major, with a minor in communication studies, with this semester being the start of my senior year. I plan on graduating a semester early and plan on attending graduate school in hopes of becoming a psychologist. Many things in my life and my mental health have been against me in retrospect. However, I have not and will continue to fight back since living in the land of the free allows me to do so. I do not feel alienated as I would possibly in other countries. I do not feel disadvantaged in any way or belittled for who I am in this country. I feel unique. I feel passionate. I feel strong. I feel privileged in order to know I have the ability to express my feelings. I feel lucky to have had the support I needed in this country for my mental health and other areas in my life where I really needed it. Being an American has provided this freedom and chance to overcome my struggles within my mental health since the proper care was readily available. I happened to have an unexpected event in my life, which it was another point where I was faced with a lot of adversity. This previous year, on November 16th, I was in a head-on collision car accident in Flagstaff. I resulted in a sprained neck, a rib out of place, and extremely bad anxiety, which consumed my time quite a bit. My schoolwork seemed impossible, and I felt hopeless once again. Fortunately, it did not take long for me to realize how lucky I was. I quickly recognized all the support and help I received during this time. My incredible boyfriend, my best friends, my sorority sisters, and of course my family made me feel safe. The first responders, doctors, chiropractors, and my psychiatrists made me feel whole and sane again. Yes, my car was destroyed, but my being was not. I knew God had my back and that I would bounce back. Other countries, this unfortunately is not one's reality due to their way of living and how their country is run. Living in the United States has given me safety and a peace of mind knowing there are resources for human life and the craziness life presents. I have the freedom and liberty in order to live my life in prosperity because of my beautiful country that I get to call my home. Within my 21 years of life, I have worked hard. I have worked to gain a full-ride scholarship at my college, Northern Arizona University. I have worked towards having 3 successful jobs, which have taught me patience, charisma, and more respect other than what my parents embedded in me. With these jobs being a Sonic employee, a server at a private country club, and a caregiver in memory care. I have worked to gain a leadership role in my sorority, Alpha Omicron Pi, as a vice president, which taught me how to be more financially sane and to be completely confident in my ability to persevere. My wonderful support system has done this for me as well, especially my amazing mother, and my boyfriend, for which I wish to teach our future kids to be proud to be an American. The United States is not only the land of the free, but the land of opportunity, and living under the Constitution has given me the eyes to see how remarkable this country truly is, and how fortunate I am to be a citizen of the United States. To say I am grateful my grandfather immigrated from Italy to America would be an understatement.